Welcome back to Unlock, Empower, Transform. I'm Shay Blackman, and today is Tuesday, which means we're diving into something special. People always ask me, Shay, what shaped your approach to leadership? And while I could talk about my 20 plus years transforming organizations from that inner city plant to automotive giants, the truth is some of my biggest breakthroughs came from quiet moments with powerful books. So today, let's talk about the 5 leadership books that didn't just sit on my shelf looking impressive. These are the ones with coffee stains, dog-eared pages, and margins filled with yes and but what about? These books influenced not just how I lead, but how I wrote high-value leadership. Book number 1, Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. Let me start with Simon Sinek's Leaders Eat Last. Now, I discovered this book during a particularly challenging transformation project. You know the kind where everyone's protecting their turf and trust is about as rare as a unicorn in the parking lot. Sinek's concept of the circle of safety hit me like a lightning bolt. He argues that great leaders create environments where people feel protected, not threatened, where they can be vulnerable without being attacked. This directly influenced Chapter 2 of High Value Leadership, where I talk about trust as the foundation of cultural transformation. Because here's what I learned leading that inner city plant. You can have all the strategic plans in the world, but if people don't feel safe to speak truth, to fail, to innovate, you've got nothing but pretty PowerPoints. Book number 2, Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Speaking of vulnerability, Brené Brown's Dare to Lead. Can we just acknowledge that this woman gave corporate leaders permission to be human? Revolutionary. Brown says vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the birthplace of innovation and change. I saw this play out when I was implementing high-performance work teams. The managers who admitted they didn't have all the answers. They built the strongest teams. This is why in high-value leadership, I emphasize authentic leadership over perfect leadership, because pretending to be invulnerable is exhausting, and frankly, nobody's buying it anyway. Book number 3, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. Patrick Lencioni's pyramid model in The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team: trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, results. Simple, right? Try implementing it when you've got managers playing politics like it's an Olympic sport. But here's what Lencioni taught me. Healthy conflict is essential, not the backstabbing, passive-aggressive nonsense. I'm talking about the kind where people challenge ideas because they care about outcomes, not ego. This shaped my approach to building high-performance teams in Chapter 5 of my book, because a team that can't argue productively is a team that can't innovate effectively. Book number 4, Working with Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman's work on emotional intelligence, game changer, especially his insight that EQ matters more than IQ for leadership success. I remember working with this brilliant operations manager, Larry, let's call him. Stellar on paper, disaster with people. He could manipulate data like a magician, but couldn't read a room if his life depended on it. Meanwhile, Mark, lower on the org chart, had people willing to walk through fire for him. Guess who created lasting transformation? This is why emotional intelligence threads through every chapter of high-value leadership, because culture isn't built on spreadsheets. It's built on human connections. Book number 5, Victory Through Organization by Dave Ulrich now. Dave Ulrich's Victory Through Organization. This is the book that validated what I'd been seeing for years. Organizations win not through individual talent alone, but through how they organize and develop capabilities. Ulrich's research showed that organization capabilities contribute more to business success than individual competencies. Music to my ears. This is exactly why I focus on systemic transformation in high-value leadership, not just leadership development. You know what's interesting? Each of these books gave me a piece of the puzzle, but none of them fully addressed what I was seeing in the trenches. How to create sustainable cultural transformation that actually sticks. That's why I wrote High-Value Leadership, to bridge the gap between theory and reality, between good intentions and actual transformation. All right. Let's make this practical. Here's your quick exercise. I call it the book to behavior bridge. Grab a sticky note right now. I'll wait. Got it? Good. Write down one leadership behavior you want to change. Just one. Maybe it's micromanaging, maybe it's avoiding difficult conversations, whatever's holding you back. Now, here's the transformation part. On the back of that note, write one specific action you'll take this week to practice the opposite behavior. If you wrote micromanaging, your action might be, let Sarah run Thursday's meeting without my input. Stick that note where you'll see it daily. Your computer monitor, bathroom mirror, wherever. Every time you see it, you're building a bridge between knowledge and action. Because reading about leadership without applying it, that's just expensive entertainment. Bringing it all together. Here's what all these books taught me and what I built into high-value leadership. Transformation isn't about finding the one perfect approach. It's about integrating multiple perspectives into a coherent strategy that works in your unique context, whether you're dealing with merger tensions, cultural resistance, or simply trying to get your team to actually collaborate. The principles in these books, synthesized with real-world application, create sustainable change. If today's episode resonated with you, I've got something that'll help you put these concepts into practice. Download my Shield Resilience Strategy Guide. It's your toolkit for building the internal resources these authors talk about, especially that section on developing emotional intelligence in high-stress situations, pure gold for navigating organizational politics. Drop a comment and let me know which book you're adding to your summer reading list. Or better yet, tell me about a book that changed your leadership perspective. I'm always looking for my next great read. The guide's free, it's practical, and it includes emergency protocols for when that meeting goes sideways, and you need to channel your inner Brené Brown while maintaining your inner Simon Sinek. Trust me. Page 10 of the guide, that crisis response plan, it's saved me more times than I can count. Remember, reading changes minds, but application changes organizations. This Thursday, we're tackling the delegation dilemma, empowering without losing control. And let me tell you, after 20 years of watching managers strangle their teams with good intentions, I've got some thoughts. Until then, keep reading, keep growing, and keep transforming. Because your leadership journey, it's not just about you. It's about every life you touch along the way. I'm Shay Blackman, and this has been Unlock, Empower, Transform.